So, when I first had the idea to do this vlogging, a Somerset violin maker, I kind of thought it was going to be really quite light-hearted in many ways. But a few things have happened to me over the last few weeks which mean that this first proper vlog is going to be a little bit serious, actually. I'm hoping that it'll be helpful to anyone who's kind of going through the same sort of thing that I've gone through. I mean, I knew I had something going on, and it's been going for a couple of years on and off, and I kind of put it down to migraine. I've been told that I had hemiplegic migraine, which was an odd diagnosis looking back. But it turns out I've been having TIAs or mini strokes, and also subsequently a more serious stroke, although I've been extremely lucky and I appear to have escaped with very little serious damage. I've also had to have a carotid artery sort of opened up and cleaned out. So there's that operation I've been through as well. So this is a summary of the experiences that I've had over the last couple of weeks. Most of it is filmed really badly by me on my iPhone on the selfie camera, so apologies for the quality of the recording. Currently standing outside freezing. Hopefully they'll be testing me in a minute. Well, it's about 5:30 on Thursday the 11th of February. End of my second day, pretty much, in Yeovil Hospital. It's been an interesting day. They're really looking after me. I've had an ultrasound scan on my carotid arteries to start the day, and one on my heart as well. And the scan on my arteries showed that the narrowing they knew about, which was about 50% in, one of them is still there, but the other one, which previously had zero narrowing, very, very little, is now kind of somewhere above 70% narrowing. So I'm kind of running on only a small amount of the blood that should be running into my brain, which kind of, and as the main problem is on my left hand side, it means that it's the perception on my right that is affected, which explains a lot of the problems I've been having, which have been TIAs, it seems. So anyway, that's a bit weird. It's February 2021, and here I am in hospital. Just found out I did indeed have a stroke, so luckily it doesn't seem to have had any lasting effects, but we'll see. So I shall probably have a long think about what this means, and maybe do an update, but they're sending me home today, and then probably next week I should be coming in for some elective surgery to clean out a carotid artery, which is restricted in flow, and there we go. It's all very strange, not what I'd expected. I thought it might have been a TIA. I think the word stroke is a bit frightening, but luckily it doesn't seem to have left me with any lasting damage at all. In fact, I recorded a little music video of me playing the violin since it happened, before I came into hospital anyway, so I think I've been very lucky. I think I've been very lucky indeed. I think I've been very, very lucky. Monday the 15th of February. Quick visit to Yeovil Hospital to meet the vascular team, apparently. Quick discussion about what's to be done. Well, quick update. So, I'm at home. Yeah. I went for a consultation yesterday at Yeovil Hospital with, I believe he's a surgeon from Taunton, from their vascular team. And I'm going to be having a surgery to clean out the carotid artery this week, Thursday. So at the moment I've just been into Yeovil this morning
to have a COVID test, and now I have to self-isolate until right up to the operation. So assuming that the COVID test comes back clear, we'll be doing okay. Interesting, you can hear me mucking up my words. I think this is still a sort of a side effect from the little stroke I had, or one of them, because I think I've probably had quite a few by the look of it. So there we go. Anyway, such is life. I've just got to take it easy now for a few days until then. So just pottering around, probably really just been doing what I've been doing ever since March last year, really, keeping myself to myself and effectively under lockdown. So onwards and upwards. Well, getting ready for the neck surgery tomorrow, and one thing they don't need is a beard, I guess. So for the first time in quite a while, pretty much beardless. So there we go. I'm looking forward to it regrowing. I'm looking forward to it regrowing is what I meant to say. So anyway, here we go. Just on the way to the hospital at the moment. This is with Les driving. Morning, Les. Morning. This is pretty auspicious. It's absolutely pissing down with rain. Black. I've got to be there for 7 o'clock or 7:30. It's about 6:45 at the moment. Just in the surgery reception lounge. Had an ECG and a chat with the surgeon, a chat with the anaesthetist. Blood taken, blood samples taken and everything. So I think, what's the time now? It must be 9, I think it is, 8:30 or something. Looks like we're set for an operation about 9:30 or 10. So there we are. So here I am in the high dependency unit, actually feeling remarkably good, all things considered. Obviously on oxygen at the moment. Got a drain in. The operation apparently went very well indeed. The surgeon has told me that it was absolutely clogged up, really nasty and sticky, and I was lucky that I hadn't had a life-threatening stroke. In other words, I was close to dying. So I've been lucky again. I've been lucky. It's good. Very happy with that. So obviously there was a risk attached to the surgery itself, but that risk pales into insignificance when you consider that. One of the things they told me before the surgery was it may affect, they said if you're a singer, the surgery may affect your vocal range. And obviously I am a singer with Mitchell and Vincent, so that's a bit of a worry, but we'll see. It could be that Dave has to rewrite some of the chord accompaniments to either go up or down in pitch, or it could be that my range has been restricted. We'll find out. Time will tell on that one. I'm not going to lose any sleep on that one. I'm not going to worry about it at the moment. That's neither here nor there in the grand scheme of things. Obviously it's important to me, but family and being alive, breathing and smiling is more important. So I can, all being well, I can still play the violin, which is really very important to me, more important than singing. So apart from that, I'm feeling great. It's 8 o'clock now, so it's about 10 hours since I had the surgery. So they're saying I could probably go home tomorrow. I've got a sneaky suspicion that when I wake up in the morning I probably won't be feeling as good because various happy medicines and painkillers will have worn off, but nevertheless, at the moment, I feel pretty good. So I feel very, very happy with the way it's gone. Anyway, I'm not going to stress myself out. I'm not going to record anymore. That's it. Talk to you later. It's not as bad as it looks. This won't be a particularly long video. I'm home. It's the end of the second day after the operation. I had a dreadful night's sleep and quite a difficult day in hospital, which got better. But it's now not that late in the evening, and it's the weekend tomorrow. I'm in, it has to be said, quite a lot of pain, and I've come to realise that I have absolutely no stamina. The idea of walking out the hospital and waiting for my wife was a very bad one. Getting out the front door, walking about 300 yards was not a good one, not very clever, and it was cold and windy and it was about to rain. And I went from quite confident and cheerful the first few steps to feeling somewhat dizzy, and by the time I got to where I wanted to be, I kind of felt as though I'd got to the top of a mountain and had nothing left to give, and I was left waiting in the cold for about 20 minutes because I'd set out too early, and my wife had come at the time I told her to come, and after a short telephone call she came to the right spot, but I didn't really have any confidence I could have made it back into the hospital on my feet, to be honest. Home and up and collapsed into bed. Absolute joy to be home. Checked my blood pressure and it's fine, but I feel really beaten about. It's been quite a shocking experience, the whole thing, really. I mean, obviously I'm not stupid. I knew of all the risks, but to be in a high dependency ward and with 3 beds and have one of the people die there whilst you're there, and it just reminds you how close you are to the edge sometimes, and I've certainly been pretty close to the edge on this one, and I haven't stepped back from it just yet. Day 4, I mean, starting to feel a lot more human. Everything still hurts, my neck's still swollen, but I can turn my head a little bit without screaming. I mean, the physio people kind of said, do move your head around, be guided by the pain, don't do anything that's really, really hurting, but you want to keep moving, otherwise you'll end up being scared to move and not using your neck properly. So yeah, I'm doing a little bit of movement and expected a bit more. Yeah, I think it's all going well, really. I mean, it's difficult to sleep. I'm still in a lot of pain, scared, to be honest, because obviously when they've cut an artery open, the back of your mind, you kind of thinking, I hope it stays sewn up. But yeah, getting there, really. So at the moment I'm sort of lying in bed, kind of just hoping that I've managed to avoid catching COVID in the hospital. Symptoms normally appear on day 4 or 5, I think, isn't that right? So I got out on the Friday evening. So if we've got to Tuesday or Wednesday still okay, then I think I'll consider that I'm okay on that one. Was it Monday now? So where are we? So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this is the fourth day now since I had the operation, and recovery continues slowly and painfully. I've obviously got a big scar on my neck, but I mean, other physical sort of things, I don't know, it's just stuff like that kind of, I think you see the colour of that bruising where the arterial drips in and things like that. But I feel like I'm a much better colour than I have been for a while. Things are generally good. It's hard to sleep. Everything's still a bit painful, to say the least. But no, it's good. I think the biggest thing really is the one that I didn't expect, and it's just that reminder of mortality, which is a real shocker. So yeah, that's definitely still affecting me. And I will admit, last night, sort of 2:45 in the morning, sitting up in bed, just thinking, I'm just feeling scared, really. But there we go. I mean, it sounds really wimpy, but I'm just being honest about, how this is affecting me, this whole process. Nothing much to report, really, other than that. I've not had any of my occasional sort of ocular migraine, which kind of suggests that blood flow might have been a significant or a contributory factor, shall we say. Nor have I had any TIA type symptoms at all. So I think with all these blood thinners, etc., we're on the right track there. I did have a sort of sweeping feeling of pins and needles down my right hand side, just a very faint, a couple of times. I think it was the night before last. So I think that's probably just residual damage in the old brain. And apart from that, I'm just taking it very, very easy. I never watched Game of Thrones, so I must admit this whole period of illness has given me an opportunity to catch up with that, and I'm now up to series 7 and starting to wonder whether it was a good idea. Perhaps the whole mortality thing is watching people having their heads cut off on Game of Thrones rather than my own little brush with mortality. So there we are. Anyway, so that's where I am at the moment. Plans for the next few days are to get out in the garden for 10 minutes, not do anything at all, just wander around. I've sort of taken over the duty of unloading and loading the dishwasher. That's my big job of the day today. So yeah, a little bit of exercise, move my head around and all that sort of stuff, keep everything going. So there we are. Anyway, I'll do another one of these probably tomorrow or maybe the day after. Okay, cheers then, bye. So one thing I haven't really talked about is symptoms. So here we go. It starts probably about 3 years ago when I was running a particular project with the architectural practice, and I decided I needed to get an engineer involved to have a look at a roof structure and also to specify a new opening. I thought my way through everything that would need to be done, and then had a look in my notes, only to find out that I'd actually organised this meeting already, had the meeting, and had written it up, and all of this had just disappeared. And it just gone completely from my mind, completely gone, disappeared. And I still to this day cannot remember anything about that meeting or that it even happened. So this was coupled with a sort of general feeling that I was kind of, there was something that didn't really tie together, and I was losing the ability to do these sort of complicated things. And I now see that it was because I was just occasionally things were just dropping out. So I mean, I've been saying to Les for some time, I don't know why, but I just can't do this architectural work at the moment. And so I sort of started to retreat from architecture because of that. So that was all very strange, and I probably should have followed it up more than I did, but I didn't. There we go. The real catalyst for starting to sort of try and work out what was going on was in May 2019 when I had a seizure in the garden. I was standing in the garden chopping up sort of garden waste, offcuts from plants and bushes and trees and things, and burning them on an incinerator. It was really hot. I was standing by the incinerator using a machete. I was using a saw. I started to have a migraine, and I just thought, I'll just keep going. And then woke up a couple of hours later in the dining room. There was no one else here at the time, so I'd actually sort of made my way down to the dining room at some stage. And I'd bitten my tongue. I'd wet myself. I had blotches all over my face where I'd burst some blood vessels, and also I'd broken my shoulder, my scapula, my shoulder blade. So I describe it as taking a little time to sort of reboot, really, but I was I didn't really think this was that important. When my wife came home from work, must have been another couple of hours later, I said, something funny's happened today, and sort of described everything. She said, right, we're off to hospital. So off we went, and I had a CAT scan which showed a grey, some sort of damage in my head. They didn't follow up with an MRI scan initially. That took a few months before I got that, and then many months before there was any sort of follow-up from that. They did a few other tests. They found I had a sort of constriction, a blockage in the carotid artery on one side of about 50% and insignificant on the other side. I was referred to a neurologist, and there was also discussion about referring me to a specialist to see if I had early onset sort of Alzheimer's or similar, which I didn't think was the case. But I don't suppose anyone does. Who knows? Anyway, that sort of dragged on, and no real results came from that. The only real results were that the initial people who admitted me kind of decided that one of the possibilities for this was that I may have had a stroke, and so they put me on appropriate medication, which I think has been pretty important since. The next significant kind of symptom, if you like, episode was I went blind in the top of my field of vision. I don't even now remember whether it was one eye or both, or which one it was, if it was just one. But it was as though there was a line, a horizon line, and above that it was just grey. And it happened just like that, and I suppose 30 seconds later it was starting to go. And so I thought, this, I guess, is just a new manifestation of my migraine, because I've had ocular disturbances, funny things happening with my vision for a long time. But anyway, that was by far and away the most significant. So I should have taken it as a warning that something else was happening, but I didn't. The next incident, really, I was sitting on the sofa, and these two, they both suddenly sort of went numb. And I thought, oh, blood supply, pinched a nerve, something like that. But that quickly changed, and it moved from being those two to being these two. And then over about 2 minutes, it was these three, and these were fine. And I realised that wasn't a blood supply thing. It wasn't a nerve thing. It was in my head. It was obviously the other end of the chain, so to speak. So, didn't do anything about it. The next thing, like a week later, I suppose, again sitting on the sofa, and it was as if someone had drawn a line kind of here, and everything below that went numb. I could move everything. I could certainly move my arm, and it was just pins and needles and sort of slight numbness. And then I tried to get up, and I realised I couldn't move my leg at all. A bit of a panic there. That eased off, I suppose, 30 seconds, a minute. So I kind of got up and I went to the office to sort of Google this, trying to find out what the hell was going on. My wife was saying we should phone 111, and I said, okay, yeah, maybe that's a good idea. I got to the office, which is just across the sort of hallway, and I was Googling it. I was feeling fine. Started to walk back into the lounge to say, could be this, that, and the other, and my leg just suddenly went again. I couldn't walk, and I kind of hopped into the lounge and crashed into the nearest chair. Les was on the phone to 111 by then, and they sort of basically sent an ambulance straight away. Ambulance crew arrived sometime later. Test ECG, gave me loads of tests on this, that, and the other. Decided it may have been a TIA or it may not, and there was a possibility that I might have another one, but didn't take me into hospital. Said, yeah, phone your GP in the morning. He'll have a copy of this report from this incident. So off they went. I phoned them in the morning. In the morning, the GP kind of basically said, oh, you get migraine, don't you? I said, yeah. And he said, well, I think it might be a hemiplegic migraine or something. Yeah, keep an eye on it, effectively. So fine. The next day, I was in the shower, and it was as if a line had been drawn right the way down through the centre of my body, and everything on the right hand side of my body just went numb, pins and needles, and I couldn't control. I had no motor control on the right hand side of my body. I was just basically holding on, trying to stand up, bobbing around a little bit, just trying to keep up straight. I hurt my back because all the muscles on one side of my body just were doing nothing. I tried to call for my wife, but she A, had the hairdryer on, and B, because of my muscles on my right side weren't working, I couldn't produce any real volume at all. So I kind of eventually managed to lower myself to the ground without making it too ungainly. My wife came through eventually, turned off the shower and sort of put a towel over me, and it cleared itself over about 5 minutes. So this is serious, got to do something about this. I wrote an email, and ask my GP sort of thing. But this being Sunday, it's kind of difficult to get in contact with a local GP at this point. So I sent them this ask my GP message, and the next morning, the GP got in contact, basically saying, this is potentially quite serious. I'd like you up here this evening, if you don't mind. So popped up there in the evening. He gave me a thorough looking over, and said, he'd have a chat with the hospital and see what everyone thought. I then got some contact from the stroke department, Yeovil Hospital, saying, please come in, which I did, and it all sort of started rolling from there. So that's the kind of history of the symptoms. I would say that since the surgery, touch wood, I've not had any symptoms. I've certainly not had any migraine either. I've still got when I say not had any symptoms, I do still have this tail end of damage, I think, from the last stroke, as we now know it to have been. But so there we are. That's the kind of position in a fairly large nutshell.
That's it, really. It's been difficult. It's kind of left me mentally a little bit scarred, I'd say. A little bit in moments of doubt, doubting my ability to speak properly. I've also, in terms of motor control and so on, I'm absolutely fine as far as I can tell. No loss of strength or anything, but there's definitely, I'm definitely not quite there with feeling and perception on my right hand side. I feel as though I've only got 85% of what I had previously, and some senses are, I'm experiencing touch on parts of my body in a way that I didn't before. It's a bit peculiar. It's hard to describe. The other thing, after all of this, that is a sort of, those two things are sort of results, I think, primarily of the little stroke I had, the last one. But then obviously I've also got, I don't know if you can see it very well there, but a scar on my neck, which would be quite useful at Halloween, and if I want to sort of perhaps a role as an extra in a pirate film or something. But more importantly for me, as a violinist, is that I've got a damaged carotid artery here, which has been patched up, which is just below the skin, and I've got this big area here and the back of this ear where I have no sense of touch at all. So I can't tell how hard I'm gripping a violin, and I'm not sure I actually even am ever going to feel confident gripping a violin tightly against this patched artery. So I'll probably do another vlog explaining or exploring what I'm going to do in terms of how to hold the violin, or perhaps some sort of modified shoulder rest or something, but that's I'm going a little bit off piste really. So anyway, hopefully this will have been useful to some people. It's been an interesting couple of weeks for me, and as I say, I hope that some of the future videos on this channel will be maybe a little bit more light-hearted. So it would be great if any of this has been interesting. Please subscribe and like, and just see what else I get up to other than spending time in hospital. Okay, cheers then, bye.